Hello everybody. My name is Gareth Simpson. I'm from the UK. I hope you've all had a really good day. Excited today to talk about NLP for outreach and link building. First, a little bit about me. I'm founder of Seeker Digital, which is a content link and outreach agency. That's all we do day in, day out. There's, I think, 27 of us in the team now. Shout out to the team who are on the live stream watching from the UK. We're a team of writers, creative professionals, designers, technical SEOs, of course, and link builders, digital PR type folks. And today I'm going to run through a link building process with you, an optimized, refined process that we've perfected over the past 4 years of doing full-time link building, and then show you how you can help speed that process up and optimize it using machine learning technologies such as NLP. So, first of all, hands up who actually does any active link building in your organization. Not that many. I'm really surprised, and that's what I've been finding as I've been chatting to people here at the event. And I really see it as one of the core concepts or one of the core pillars of SEO. And the reason is, it really does work. This is an Ahrefs study. I love the data in this study. It really helps to highlight and raise awareness of the importance of link building or links, backlink and authority. Good links, of course, and focusing on the very high-end quality ethical work. It's very effective, and I've built a full-time agency of nearly 30 people based on this one technique. So here's a little overview, high-level overview of the process, link building as we run it at Seeker. Obviously, I won't go into keyword research so much, but of course, then we would analyze the SERPs, identify competing pages, identify what attributes and factors we know that are important for ranking in terms of link building factors, and look for correlations and so on in there. Measure the gap between our competing pages and our own target page, and then build a strategy to try and close that gap, whether that's, we'll analyze obviously the domains where those links are coming from, the quantity, the anchor text, all of the on-page elements that are used for relevancy signals, and build that into our own strategy for our link building. And then we'll break that down into targets, page targets, identifying which pages are actually deficient in link authority. Just going back to those 4 pillars of SEO, we want all of the other 3 to be in place before we actually really get to link building, because that's where the biggest wins are going to be made. But really what we're looking for is pages that links are, where link authority is an opportunity for gaining some competitive advantage. Then we'll break that down. We'll hand that over to the creative team and the PR or the campaign team, as they're known, who will actually build some content marketing campaigns, or some creative assets, or some stories that can help us with our outreach. The banner that we're going to go and fly out there to say, hey, why don't you link to this site, and here's the reason why you should. From there, we get into the actual list building process, which is prospecting those sites, quality checking them, and eliminating any sites that don't match our criteria. And from there, we then need to identify who we're contacting at that particular site. If it has to be a targeted list, of course. If it lands in the wrong inbox, and your pitch, no matter how great the pitch is and how great the asset or the story is, if it goes into the wrong inbox, it's just spam. So we're looking for real targeted lists, and then, of course, the reward of that is we actually get some responses, some replies to those emails, and we start our negotiation process, which is much like sales, breaking down barriers to objections and so on, and communicating the value proposition to the other party of why they should be collaborating with us on this campaign. Then, of course, we go into the usual monitoring, tracking, seeing how that link has actually affected the page and the SERPs, seeing how it's affected link link metrics and so on, and of course tracking, reporting to stakeholders. So that's just a high-level overview of the process. This is a software called Pitchbox. Does anybody use Pitchbox? Excuse me, does anybody use Pitchbox here? A few. It's probably one of the, well, it is the best outreach. It's like a CRM tool. It's got lots of features built in. I'm going to just run through the initial steps because it helps to visualize the process. Our whole agency is built on this system, and thanks to its APIs, you can scale and extend it and add in as many custom features as you would like. So here we have the prospecting methods, from scraping Google for obviously pages based on keywords or advanced operators and things, through to pulling data from other tools such as link research tools, Ahrefs, and so on. Once we've run through those wizards, and of course you can import your own lists as well, we move into the inspection phase. This is where we're quality checking and identifying which sites are actually relevant for our link building campaign. And then we move on to the personalization stage, which is the contact research. Pitchbox pulls back a ton of contacts from the site, but sometimes, which is really, really great, but sometimes it's 20, 30 people. We don't want to be emailing 20, 30 people at the same company asking for links. It's not going to go down well. So we have, obviously, people working through this and filtering down to the top 1 to 3 people who are definitely going to appreciate hearing about our link pitch. And then the final stage is actually composing our emails and our templates, either on a one-to-one basis or very tactfully and scarcely using some campaign-based templates with some logic built in, which can pull in some advanced fields and things. And then I've blanked out the center column just to protect the innocent, but that's an email inbox which shows the responses coming in for our link pitches. And what's important here is the milestones, which is the journey that you go through, the narrative with a link opportunity, from negotiation. So you're actually you haven't got a yes, but they seem to be engaged in conversation with you. In the contrast, the lost is obviously a no, they're not interested in your link pitch. And almost there is that they've engaged and committed in some way to a link, a collaboration with you. So this process is quite complex. It has so many micro decisions involved, and it can really be difficult to scale without the correct project management in place. And it's also very mundane work when you break down link building is so fun and exciting, but when you're sat there looking at spreadsheet after spreadsheet and prospecting and filtering through, looking after site and quality checking its backlinks and so on, it can get boring pretty quick. So I started to look into ways of optimizing this process and increasing efficiency in my organization. And a lot of it came down to data processing and moving things from one place to another. So I was thinking, how does this? I analysed the process and thought, where are the biggest blockers? Where are the biggest time steps? And so I realized it was the integrations between all of these different tools. So I started to implement some of the microservices methodologies, interconnecting platforms. We use so many tools in SEO, and they've usually all got APIs. We can connect one platform to another and seamlessly pipe that data through. That was a massive win in the organization and really sped up the process of our link building. I used to, the statement I used to make was we're going to kill the copy and paste, uploads and downloads from one tool to the other, and make that data go from one platform to the other automatically. However, that was very good, but there is still manual interventions, human decisions that need to be made, junction points at various stages where a human needs to make a decision about the scenario, whether that's analyzing a site to see if it does pass our quality checks, or checking an email and deciding which milestone it then goes to. Does it go through to almost there where we're getting really serious about a link collaboration, or is it just a polite thank you for your time, hopefully we can collaborate in future. So I got thinking and looked back to a talk by Mike here, who talked in London back in 2017 on this very subject. Back then, I thought it was some of the technology that Michael presented was, it seemed so futuristic to me at the time. I thought there's no way this is accessible to a growing agency like my own. But yeah, a year on after that talk, I went back to the slides, and I thought I'll have a go at this stuff. And it's actually quite accessible. I'm not a developer. I think mostly from the business logic aspect, and I'm an SEO, so I've got fairly working technical skills, but actually coding some of this stuff by hand, it's not really something that I can do. So Michael, thank you for the inspiration on that. It's really paid off, and I'll show you how we're using some of this stuff today. So it's benefiting our organization in these ways, automating some of those decisions. We had all this data, 4 years of decision data, which became our training data for the machine models. And it's enabled us to process more data quicker, giving us bigger insight and enabling us to make smarter decisions. So just looking at the AI family, the areas we're mostly working in and using at the moment is NLP, natural language processing, which we heard from Paul yesterday about this stuff. And it's helping us with classifying content, text, corpuses of text, understanding the meanings and the semantics to then allow the logic to move on to take that opportunity or that entity, whatever it is, into the next stage of the process. And that helps us to automate repetitive tasks and free up, especially the more junior members who are usually doing this sort of work, to work on their own development and more meaningful work in the organization. But you don't need to be super advanced. As I was saying, I'm not a developer. You don't really, there are the very low-level frameworks that you can use for building this stuff and actually getting into the code. And then there's very high-level frameworks and APIs that enable you to use pre-built models and use interfaces to actually implement classifiers and so on, using without actually having to get into the code. The main ones we're using at the moment are Monkey-Learn, super cool tool, and IBM Watson, very high-level frameworks. You set up an account, and then you can log in and actually use these, connect it to your platforms, and start sending your data through. Using Zapier for that. Anybody use Zapier? Yeah, it's an API client, again, point and click, and enables you to drag and drop the logic around without having to get into the syntax. And then, of course, what we do, we prototype with these tools, and then to bring down the cost of the processing and the credits, we'll then we'll go native and use direct APIs and some of the more low-level frameworks listed here. So let's look at a few elements of our link building process that can actually be improved using NLP. I've got three examples. There's right across the board. If you go back to that journey of link building, you can use AI technology throughout. But I'm going to narrow down on the three which I think will be most valuable for you today. First one, contact research. As I said, Pitchbox pulls this stuff out super quick and easy for you, but it still requires, we've got a team there filtering through contacts and identifying the editor, the blogger, the journalist, the people who we're looking to contact for that particular campaign. But it's slow and cumbersome and gets boring very quickly using Chrome extensions like hunter.io and manually finding these contact details. So what you can actually do is connect Pitchbox directly to monkey learn using Zapier, and then send the data through there, process it using the classifier, and send it back. And the classifier, this is an example of a very high-level framework. This is a pre-built job classifier. You send your data over to it, and it's able to actually identify what industry or category they work in and their seniority. That way we can identify those who have got the keys to the site, who's going to be interested in our content collab, not the HR team, not the CEO. If it's a big corporation, we can narrow down to the people who are most relevant for our campaign. And then here's an example of it going native now and using actual building our own tools. We had a great session yesterday on building bespoke software and tools. We're not going to win any UX design awards here, of course, but there's some great functionality in here. This does effectively the same thing as I just showed you, but in our own platform, pulls through all the SEO metrics, and then we can, we've got the seniority, we've got job category. We then send that data through some contact enrichment APIs. I think, Rich Contact is the one we use to get even more, to profile that contact even more and learn about them and really try and build a narrative and a rapport with that person. And then we export that data directly through to Pitchbox. That has enabled a contact research team to be freed up to work on more meaningful tasks. There's an overview of the process that I just talked about. Social profiles, etc. All of this is completely automated, leaving a final list build, a built list for the send. The next one then, next area that I saw a massive time sap in my organization was email filtering. My team are dealing with thousands of emails, writing manually thousands of emails every month between them, and they can be categorized down into various aspects of the relationship. Like I said, one, we've got a link. Almost there, they've committed to a link. Negotiation, they're still not sure, but they have engaged with us. And then we have lost, of course, they're not interested. Some of those emails are super simple, like I said, polite, thank you, for your time, and then you move on. But the battle is really won in the maybes, the negotiations. That's where you want your expert negotiators, your most talented outreach link prospectors working to try and close that opportunity, much like sales. If they're working on dealing with autoresponders, unsubscribes, and things like that, it's not the best use of their time, and effectively it's going to decrease our conversion rate. So, like I said, we're sat on 4 years of training data from Pitchbox that have all been marked up. That's the email data. Our team have been classifying that manually, and we're able to export that data through IMAP and actually use that as our training data to train the model to identify which milestone to change to automatically in Pitchbox. And then, of course, we use some other classifiers such as intent, sentiment, and urgency to get some more data on that email. We use the custom tags feature in Pitchbox, which then enables us to filter the email list and segment the emails off into lost, won, almost there, and so on, effectively freeing up the expert negotiators to work on the most demanding, high-pressure emails, which is the maybes. You can upload this training data to Monkey Learn again and start classifying it. Of course, there's even companies out there that can help you classify your data if it's not already done. And the end result is, here's those tags listed down here. There's a whole load of more columns on here, but effectively, the emails can be triaged automatically, and you can speed up the time to respond to a particular email, which of course, as those who have worked in sales, is definitely a contributor to conversion rate. And if you want to go one step further, this is stuff that we're not actually implementing right now, but I found this stat resonated with me, and I thought about Google's recent demonstration of natural language generation using their voice production frameworks and things. And of course, there was a demo here where they could actually book a hairdressing appointment using the voice assistant. Now, these frameworks are actually available again, and I don't advocate sending automatic emails. That technology is no way there yet. But if the confidence score on the lost is, potentially, you could send the polite thank you and save your team from sending the same thank you for your time, thank you for your time. Moving on to the third, my favorite tip here, one that I think you can all get a lot of value from and help you to land links from sites like this. DR91, 113 mil in organic traffic there. And it's a mention here. Has anybody used Harrow? Yeah, quite a few of you, cool. And effectively just going through the process. Harrow is a matchmaking service for journalists and PRs, and it enables journalists who need content, experiences, and expert commentary for their stories to supplement their articles with connecting them with the PRs who coordinate this on behalf of their clients and so on. Great service. You can win some super powerful links in actually, ironically, very little time. Some of the biggest links that you can win can sometimes take the least amount of time. But where it does slow down is in how this how this information is sent out. It's a big wall of text, emails, 3 digests per day with tens and tens of requests from journalists. There's no way they tried, there's no way my team can look through these every day and make sure they capture every single one that's relevant for our clients. And inevitably, they're looking at irrelevant requests and missing good opportunities. Here's an example from Pop Sugar, another super big, powerful site. And but unfortunately, this is unstructured data and requires manual reading. Similarly, journalists also turn to Twitter and tweet out requests for story contributions and so on. Usually, if they're on Twitter, they're stuck for time and they're looking for hourly or daily turnaround. And timing is imperative to success with this stuff. Here's some of the hashtags that you can use for identifying journalists or finding journalists to collaborate with on stories. But again, it's a huge stream of tweets, and there's no way my outreach team can process that stuff manually. So, Q, some natural language understanding tools from IBM Watson. The ones we're using are categorization, entities, and keywords. That enables us to segment out those tweets using I think it's called Tweepy API, pull in that data, run it through the IBM Watson frameworks, and then output that data to whatever interface that you wish. And here's the Harrow one, extracting reading that email, that unstructured data, and sorting it into columns. Adding keywords in there, which we can then search by, adding the date and various categories and filters. And the same for the tweets, using the journo request hashtag. And this speeds up the time it takes to process all of those tweets. Again, you can then the continuation from doing that with basic Google Sheet APIs, Zapier, and Monkey Learn, which also integrates with Zapier. The next step is to actually build a custom dashboard, which we did here. And now the team just log in and they see all of the Harrow response source and Twitter requests on one platform, all being categorized using the IBM Watson tools. This has really helped to speed up how many opportunities they can get back to in a day, and give us that competitive edge in terms of time to respond. So, that's the 3 tips. I'd highly recommend going back. They're super accessible, whether you're into machine learning, development, and so on, or whether you just want to use Google Sheets and Monkey Learn. This stuff can really speed up your processes. Map out your link building process. Use the APIs to interconnect all of these platforms, run it through some NLP to help with automating the logic, IFTTT style, and start with monkey learn and then grow from there. If you're able to do those things and get the project management down, then you can certainly, within your capability, to win links from some of the biggest websites in the world. That's all from me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Gareth. Oh, question from Tobias.
There's quite some person-related data in there, and you're a UK-based company. So how do you deal with privacy and data regulations and stuff? Especially because you give the data, or you tunnel the data through a lot of different services.
Yeah. So the requirements are they all have to be GDPR compliant, the tools that we use, and we've had obviously our solicitors do the audits and so on when the GDPR laws came out, and all of the platforms do meet those requirements, and we've had all of that signed off and audited. So all the best practices are in place.
And we have time for one more question for Gareth. Anyone? Any takers? Any takers? No? You're going to be at happy hour?
Yeah, of course. Cool.
Awesome. All right, great. Guys, let's give Gareth one more hand. Thank you so much.
Yeah.